Welcome to Doctrine and Devotion, a podcast exploring Christian faith and practice and my phobias.
Are you about to cry?
From a Reformed
You gonna
Baptist
cry, bro?
perspective.
You gonna cry, bro?
Listen, you know I don't cry.
Oh, yes,
I
you
don't
do.
cry.
You
Have you ever seen me even get close to crying?
Right here. Yes,
no,
tonight.
First of all,
Oh,
you saw me
yes.
freak out a little bit.
Joe.
A little bit.
Joe, don't lie.
But there was no crying involved.
Joe, you made it sound, I'm leaving. I'm leaving.
Oh,
If
I
you
was
don't-
leaving.
If you don't kill that spider,
Nobody knows
I'm
what you're talking.
leaving.
Nobody knows what you're talking about.
From last episode.
People might not have listened to the last
Oh,
episode.
okay. Either way,
No, but you gotta
Joe's a big
explain it.
baby.
Okay, fine. But people have to explain what happened.
Fine. A spider was coming down from the ceiling, and Joe freaked out like a little baby.
Yeah, that's about right.
That's
Yeah.
about right.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it.
If you don't kill it, I'm leaving.
Well, first of all, I said, if you don't kill it, I'm going to leave. That's how I didn't like whine about it. I just told you what's
Yeah,
up.
you did.
Yeah. Oh, people can, is it on? Is it? Did you put that in the audio?
Not the crying part, because I felt
there's
sorry
no
for
crying.
you. I
There's
felt
no
sorry
crying.
for you.
All right, look, I don't like spiders.
Dude, that was more than I don't like spiders.
Yeah, a lot. I don't like spiders a lot.
No, Joe. Bro.
Dude, what am I afraid of? Am I afraid of anything?
Spiders.
Spiders. That's it. That's the only thing. I get one thing. I chose spiders.
Cats.
No, I like cats.
Mice.
I like killing them. All right, so yeah, okay, so hey, I'm the lead pastor of Redeemer Fellowship in St. Charles, Illinois, and that's Jimmy Fowler. He's perpetual elder candidate here at Redeemer Fellowship.
How you feeling, Joe? You feel better?
No, I'm not feeling better. There's a big stinking spider hovering over my head, and you were just like
So,
staring
true
at
or
me.
false?
Yeah,
You made me kill it.
absolutely.
True or false? Are you mad that I used your pencil to do it?
Yeah, I told you not to. I used my giant pencil eraser on my giant pencil to kill it, and now it's all like whatever.
It's gunked up. Dude, I've never seen Joe like that.
Yeah, no, because I don't. That's not how I behave typically. But if there's here's the thing: if the spider is on the floor, I'm okay. I can keep my wits. It's on the floor. If it's coming towards me, I'm gonna leave, but I'm not gonna freak out.
All right, but the fact that it's on the ceiling.
Oh my gosh, dude! Even just thinking about it, if it's coming down from the ceiling, I'm out. I mean, I'm out. If it's on the wall,
I almost wish I got my camera out instead.
Oh my gosh.
But
yeah, you're not that fast. Not that. Yeah, okay, so listen. What are we talking about tonight?
we're going to talk about the Jethro Principle.
Yeah, good. The only thing scarier than the Jethro Principle is a spider hovering over my bald head. No. All right, so you guys might not know what the Jethro Principle is. When I hear Jethro Principle, I think of the Beverly Hillbillies, of course. You youngins don't know what that is. But we got an email from Pastor Brian Gilmore. And Brian's a thoughtful guy, and he sent us a nice long email that we're going to read to you piece by piece and interact with some of his questions. So we're going to answer what this whole Jethro Principle is, interact with that, and we're going to get into a number of good questions that Brian asked us as it relates to church growth. Okay?
Sounds good.
All right, here we go.
Ready, go.
Pastor Brian says, on your pastoral care episode, there was a hard number given out that you desire for your church plant not to grow past. That number was 500. Currently, you stated that you were running 250 or so. The reason for the hard number is because y'all...
So he's from down south, okay.
I'm just reading it. Because y'all agreed you could not shepherd a group much larger than 500 well. This gave me a yellow flag of warning to wonder about your mode of operations.
Oh, I'm glad okay.
All right, so let's clarify a couple of things. We are not a church plant. We are a church. We started as a church plant, but we are self-sustaining and we plant other churches out of us. So just for clarity, in case anybody was wondering, we've never said 500 is our hard number. What we have said is we don't, for the way that we do ministry and the way that we conceive of pastoral care and taking care of the body, we don't like congregations for us that hit 500. So we like it under that, actually. Yeah. And really, 350 is probably to 4 at the top end.
Oh, here's your hard number. It makes me wonder about your mode of operation, Joe.
Yellow flag!
We're playing with you, Brian. We're playing.
All right, so we're running like 260, 270 right now.
Yeah.
If you count the babies. And the reason we like that number of just a few hundred people is because it allows for a few things. In our experience and in the way that we particularly do ministry, it allows our people to have a greater sense of shared community with the entire body than is possible when you get to 600, 700, 800. It also allows a group of pastors to know the people fairly well. Beyond a certain number, it's pretty difficult for the group of pastors to function together. You wind up having teams of pastors who operate in teams disconnected from one another, trying to take care of all of the people. So it is a general principle that we as a particular church operate under, because not because we think it should be for anybody else. This is how we want to do it because of how we value pastoral care and how we practice pastoral care. Fair enough?
I think that's fair enough, yeah.
Okay, so then he goes on to say, after listening to the God Calling episode, I would like to see how you guys are wrestling through the following thoughts. Number one, does the Jethro Principle, Exodus 18:13 through 25, only speak to the foundation of elders, or does it go further than the office of elder? Do you see a model where the Jethro Principle is reinforced by Jesus feeding the 5,000 in Mark 6:39? And then he has a clarification. Please know that I see the Jethro model as a description of operation, not so much as a prescription. I think our current leadership studies affirm the model, with the current suggested number for churches to hire new staff is around 150 to one ministerial staff. Okay, so a couple of things here. Does the Jethro Principle only speak to the foundation of elders? I do not believe it speaks to the foundation of elders. The Jethro Principle is fundamentally... it's about delegation.
Yeah,
and
I think so.
I just like the word delegation.
Yeah,
I don't want to call it the Jethro Principle.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I just don't like that kind of a thing. Called the Jethro Principle. But what you see happening in that situation in Exodus is, in order to care for the people, you need to divide up the labor. That's the issue. So
it's got to be shared leadership.
Responsible delegation, shared leadership.
Yeah.
And so that is, I believe, a principle of elder rule and elder leading.
Plurality?
Yeah, you need a plurality of elders who function in parity with one another. We've talked about that before. So do I see a model where the Jethro Principle is reinforced by Jesus feeding the 5,000 in Mark 6:39? No.
Yeah, I don't see.
Because how else is it going to get done? He's just delegating to his disciples what needs to happen. We're talking delegation. So that would be our response. That would be my response to that. Anything you want to add so far?
No, I think we're on the same page. We're on the same page.
So we've explained the Jethro Principle in general, right? We've got this situation where
Moses is from day and night. I mean, all day, morning.
He busy.
And he's hearing all the questions, concerns. He's making all the decisions. He's speaking into people's lives.
He's going to suffer burnout.
He's going to have that ministry burnout. And his father-in-law, Jethro, sees it's unhealthy.
Now, he's a leadership expert, Jethro.
Yes, leadership. He took an Andy Stanley class.
Yeah, and Maxwell.
And Maxwell.
Yeah.
And said, hey, man, you need to find some people that you can kind of delegate these things to and share this responsibility.
Right.
And only the big things, the big issues, big cases come to you.
Right. Pyramid scheme.
And you get a cut of every single.
That's right. All right. So now the Jethro Principle then is identifying a real and legitimate problem.
Oh yeah.
But I do not believe it is specifically prescriptive. So we might be in agreement here with our brother Brian, Pastor Brian. And then he says this in his email. Basically, my curiosity has me wondering: do you set the hard numbers and then develop new church planters because the calling of God has you capped at 500? No. Again, hard numbers. We're not. First of all, we're not exploding with growth, so it's really not even an issue.
No, we can't. We just can't maintain that growth. What I'm talking about is our space won't allow that kind of growth.
But we haven't even run into the barrier yet, where we can't have any more people in the building. We get close, but
we're getting close.
Oh yeah, Jimmy and I argue about this.
We argue about
nobody
it all
cares. All right. So, why the way we develop new church planters and send out church planters is based on who God gives us. So we don't put out word, we're looking for some new church planters. Church planters come in, and then we train them and send them out or anything like that.
Because we have had inquiries of people that wanted to. We're like, well, hold on. No, we kind of do this from within.
Right.
Based on the needs of our people.
And based on the giftedness of the people in the church that want to do that.
Yep.
So we actually don't bring people in for this. As God brings people to us who are a part of our church who feel called to ministry and called to plant, then we develop them, we train them, and we send them. And it doesn't matter what size we're at. We sent our first church planter out before we were 100. in
Yeah.
size.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yep.
And then we sent out another one, and then we sent out another one. And each time they go, we'd say, take as many of our people as you want. Well, as many as are willing to go. They can't just take people they want.
Yeah, yeah.
People have to want to go.
And only like C grade.
Not A and B grade.
No, the A and B stays with us.
No.
And no top tithers.
No, that's the A and B grade.
Yeah,
that's what we're talking about. We're all about the money. No, we tell, and like Tom. So when Tom was our most recent church planter, he went out, and the people that he took with him that wanted to go with him,
I don't want to talk about it
they're
anymore.
awesome Christians. They're hardcore, like sold out.
Come on, Tom.
Godly people.
Quit taking good people.
So, anywho, so that's how we do it. So it's very much like God provides.
Yeah.
We develop them and we send them out, and we do our thing. So I hope that makes sense in terms of how we do stuff. And then Pastor Brian asked another question. He said, "Are your CGs, that's our community groups, are they open or closed groups? Do you challenge your community groups to multiply or start new groups? What are the job descriptions of the community group leaders? How many leaders in a community group team? Please know that I'm aware of the testimonies y'all have given about your CGs doing ministry.
Already as pastoral care.
Please know." Okay, so
Yeah,
he's
I don't know
turned a
why it's a
statement
question
into a
mark.
question.
Yeah,
He turned a statement into a question. Hey, Brian, man, proofread your stuff. Okay, so then maybe you need to define what pastoral care is. We certainly do and have. So when we talk about our community groups, Jimmy, are they open or closed?
They're open.
That's right. So who can go to a community group?
Anybody.
Anybody can go. So we're not telling who gets to go where, and why is that?
Because we base our community groups off of, and I know Pastor Pat has already shared this.
This is Pastor Pat's area.
This is
his role.
That's his role.
He knows his role.
He knows his role. Is so it's based on a lot of it's geographical, right? Like what's the area?
So we
that's
have them
closest
spread
to you?
out. We have multiple cities around us.
Exactly. So what meets in your city? If that day works for you, or that time works for you, or maybe there's another group where there's maybe a stronger connection, because of youth and children and you know what I mean, or women's ministry, men's ministry, whatever it is. So I mean, I got people that come from Aurora, which is about 2 towns over. I mean, when I say that, it's only 20 minutes away, right?
Everything's connected here.
Yeah, but they pass like 2 or 3 groups.
Oh yeah,
to come to my group.
Well, that's because
I got the best group.
Yeah, not the best group, but a very good group. Probably the second best group.
I got the best group.
The second best.
And so, but I mean, it's because there's a relationship there. There's a relational. There's that component. We've spent a lot of time together. We've prayed together. We've cried together. We've shared life together. I know Joe hates when people say that kind of stuff.
I don't like sharing life or loving on.
And we love on each other.
Mm-hmm.
And so I mean, yeah, we don't. It's open. It's open. Anyone can go, and whether you're a member or a non-member, we're encouraging everyone to get involved.
Find a CG.
That's
and
right.
nobody gets hurt feelings or anything like that. So you pick your community group because of maybe proximation, right, locale, or because of the time.
Yep. Some days work better for others. Yep.
Absolutely. Or because of relationships. So it doesn't really matter.
So what about that? When he says, do you cap it?
Well, he doesn't actually ask that.
I thought he did.
No, I don't see that in here. Maybe that extra question mark confused me. But he actually did ask this somewhere in here. Yeah. Do you challenge your CGs to multiply or start new groups? So it's implied there. And yes, we don't issue the challenge. We tell them it is a necessity at some point to multiply because your group becomes too large. And what happens is at some point when the group hits a certain number, and this could be 15 or more people, maybe 16 to 20 people. I don't know exactly what it is.
But we don't have a hard number.
No. But your group reaches a certain stage, and what tends to happen is a few things. Number one, sometimes people will feel like, well, maybe I don't need to go tonight. After all, if I'm not there, people might not feel it as much because there's so many people there.
I'm not going to be missed.
I know that's not appropriate, but we all tend to have that. If it's a small group and you kind of know, like, I need to be there.
Yeah.
And the other thing that happens is when the group gets too big and an outsider comes into that group, they oftentimes feel like, well, there really isn't a place for me here because this group is already established. It's really big. And
actually,
so they have that.
I've been struggling through that with my group.
Mm-hmm.
Like at some point we were having the discussion about multiplication at needed, and I really noticed it when a new person started coming.
Yeah.
And then they asked, we're coming for a few weeks, getting involved, but then they asked a question. They asked, how long have you guys been meeting? And I told them, a few years. it's been the same group. Like, yeah, we walked alongside each other a couple of years. Really, we're really tight, really close, and we really reached out to this person to keep.
Right.
But then all of a sudden they drifted away.
Right.
And I felt like part of it was like no one wants to walk into a movie halfway through.
Yeah, and like this is, I mean, and maybe a little, certainly a little, but I did feel a little uncomfortable. Like, wow, these people, and again, people got to get over it, but wow, same group of people for 3 years.
Yeah,
I'm the new guy.
Is there a click? Am I going to have a place here? And we, like I said.
Oh, your people would have just received him and embraced him, and
the ladies went way, and they still actually try to reach out to her, and and she still comes to church. So we're encouraging her to get involved in ACG.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. So, yes, we do encourage our churches, our small groups to multiply. The starting of new groups, it's a whole different process. Pastor Pat works with guys, training them up. There's a whole process for that, and we start new CGs as they are needed. What are the job descriptions of CG leaders? That's rather a lengthy sort of a thing, but our CG leaders are it's not a biblical office, but it is a position that we establish, a leadership position that we establish,
a teaching position.
Yeah, where they are. These are men that will teach in accordance with our doctrinal statement, and they are mentored and coached and overseen by Pastor Pat and the elders.
Yep.
They facilitate the discussion. They are looking for new leaders to be raised up and trained within their small groups. And we talked about pastoral care that they do, and we're using that term pretty broadly.
Yeah.
But when you are leading a Bible study, or when you are essentially one of the people that is doing some discipleship, you'll wind up praying with people, helping them think through issues. You'll be doing some counseling, and those are very generally and broadly a pastoral care kind of ministry. So if we're asking what is pastoral care, we can get very specific and say, well, pastoral care is the active investment of the elders into the lives of the people that is driven by the ministry of the word. All right, and I just made that up, but I think that's fairly accurate. So now we're saying pastoral care in a more broad, generic sense when we say this is applying to our community group leaders. And the reality is community group leader might very well become an elder. Like a CG leader is good training ground for larger responsibilities in ministry.
Yeah.
Let's see. Have you maybe you need to, okay, I think we did all that.
Yeah, but I think, so it continues on. Brian says, there are so many thoughts going on in my head. Not sure this is making sense, but basically, I want to challenge you in your growth model. Oh, here we go. Here's what he says.
You don't challenge God's anointed son.
The mantle has been given to us.
The mantle is intact. It is in charge. It's here. It's present.
If God has deemed it appropriate for you to expand past 500, are you able to see how that can be organized in a healthy fashion?
Of course, is the answer. Of course.
Yeah.
Listen, if
we've had that conversation.
Yeah, if God causes explosive, fast growth, it will probably kill me, so there'll be a new lead pastor here anyways. B, yes, you have to adapt.
Yeah.
So we're going to follow God with what he does. But our growth is small. Listen, we are a Reformed Baptist church that's heavy on doctrine, that really encourages people to be very close and transparent with one another in friendships. And we have a pretty janky, dumpy building that's not very attractive. So we don't put on a big show with lights.
Praise
and all
you,
that
God,
stuff.
for this building.
So here's the thing: we don't get a ton of we're not super attractional. We just put it that way.
No.
But yes, if God starts to blow us up, of course we will.
We'll lean into it.
We absolutely will lean into it. Now, but here's the thing: are you able to see how that can be organized in a healthy fashion? I would say that there are pros and cons to small churches and large churches, and the cons that come with the larger churches that are hitting 1,000 and more are cons that you oftentimes don't experience in the smaller churches. We have different pros and cons. And I prefer the cons of the smaller churches to the cons of the bigger churches.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we'll roll with whatever God wants to do. All right. And then he asked another question.
Hold on, but can you see it organized in a healthy fashion, I guess?
And,
I feel like that's almost like a loaded question.
Yeah, it's a load, all right. No, dude, we're totally kidding. We're busting on you because we like you. It's like we bust on each other. Yeah, I think you can organize a large church in a healthy fashion. Yes. I do tend to believe that smaller churches have the potential to be healthier than larger churches. Maybe that's not fair, and I could be totally wrong, but I do tend to think that way, just being honest. All right, so then he has another question.
Is your cap on growth because of government regulations on how big a church can be in square footage? No.
No. That
never crossed our mind.
Weird question. Do you identify more with Dr. Mark Dever and that you should not have more than one worship service?
Yeah, I kind of like McD on that one.
Yeah. Here's the thing. In some senses, we would prefer to have one service where all of the people in our church are gathered together in one gathering, singing with one voice, hearing the word preached as one, sharing in the Lord's Supper. We want to be one people. And when you start to have multiple services, the one people dynamic does start to suffer.
Yeah.
So ideally, yes, but it's often impractical, and we are there. We have a small worship space, which seats about 150, and we have 260, 270 people every Sunday.
Yeah.
So we got two services.
Yeah.
And
possibly we might have to go to 3.
We are not going to 3.
At some
point.
point.
We are not going to 3.
Joe,
we are not.
If God has deemed it appropriate.
Okay, first of all, don't speak blasphemy.
If God deems it appropriate, are you able to see how we can be organized in 3 services in a healthy fashion?
I'll tell you right now. I'll tell you what. Mark Dever says 3 services is the unholy trinity. You never go to 3.
McD says that?
Oh yeah, all the time.
I don't think I've ever seen it. That doesn't sound like him.
He says, I do know within your Acts 29 network that there are churches larger than 500 that can give you a model to work with. Yes, we know that. We're very familiar with them. I'm very good friends with pastors of large churches. We've read extensively on church growth, on church management, on church planting. I've got a BA from Moody Bible Institute and an MDiv from Southern Seminary, so we have to read a lot of that stuff. And it's been good because it's given me a broad exposure to a lot of different ideas and systems that I may not always agree with. I also know that with Acts 29, they assigned Alexander Strock's book on biblical eldership to help their guys with their ecclesiology. So I have that as a common ground for discussion. Absolutely.
Great book.
Yep, been reading Strock since before 829 existed. Love it. Discuss. Yeah. What do you give me the look for?
No.
Give me the look.
I'm not giving you the look.
All right. So then he says, just food for thought to wrestle through. Oh, wait. Yep. Is that everything? All right. Just food for thought to wrestle through. Please know I am on the team. Which team is that?
The Jofo.
Is it the A team? The B team? Or is it Team Jofo?
Team Jofo.
It's Team Jofo. He's cheering us on. Thank you for the podcast and the banter. I am praying for Jim Fofo to finally finish his last paper to be a full-fledged elder.
Thanks, brother.
If y'all are ever in the Dallas-Fort Worth area again, let me know. I can treat you to dinner sometime. Tell you what, brother. You send us some Krispy Kremes. You send us a box of Krispy Kremes to 1125 Oak Street, St. Charles, Illinois, 60174, care of Jofo. Yes, we will. I'll send you something.
Oh,
I like
it.
Did I say Krispy Kreme?
Yeah.
God forgive me.
Yeah,
I hate Krispy Kreme.
I'm surprised you said that.
I hate Shipley's donuts.
Yeah, well, I'm like, all right. Well,
Shipley's donuts.
I'm not going to call them
Krispy Kreme are the worst donuts ever. Shipley's donuts. Oh my goodness. I totally ruined everything. Sorry about that, Brian. Hey,
like our church, you ruin everything.
I ruin everything, man. I ruined the Jethro Principle.
Like our church growth.
I ruined the regulative principle. I ruined all the principles. Hey, listen, seriously, we do appreciate that. We appreciate the pushback and it makes us talk through these things and think about them. So absolutely. We know that we could be wrong in some of our ideas and some of our thoughts. And we're probably not, but it's possible, and it's possible that Jesus is going to come back in 2 seconds. But just like that didn't happen. We're probably not wrong. But we do appreciate that. And listen, we are a young church, Brian. We're a young church, 10 years old. We're still figuring things out as a church. Mm-hmm. Like you can have all the study in the world. You can read books and do all this stuff. But it's the active years in ministry. I've been a pastor for 19 years, but I've really only been a part of a church that's growing and really vibrant and healthy for the past 10. Yeah. So we got a lot of growing and a lot of growing up to do. So we appreciate you and your email.
Love to hear your thoughts. You can follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Doc and Devo or on Facebook /Doctrine and Devotion. You can head on the website, doctrinedevotion.com. There you can contact us. You can sign up for our email blast. You can hit the store and sign up for the 2018 Doctrine and Devotion Conference on the Spirit and the Church. Speaking about that conference, Joe, we've got a guarantee. We've got a money-back guarantee.
We do?
Oh, yes.
I know we talked about something, but I wasn't paying attention.
Absolutely.
Oh, I remember.
We've got the rapture back guarantee.
All right. If for some reason
you sign up and register
and you pay the full registration price.
Yep.
And if it turns out that the whole pre-trib, premillennial thing is true and Jesus comes back to take us away before the tribulation,
We'll give you your money back.
You give your money back.
There you go.
All right. I forgot all about that. We talked about that at the cigar shop.
Fresh Pod every Monday and Thursday. Blog posts on Wednesdays. Video content Fridays. Later. Unless Jesus comes back.